The first time I saw him, Mrs. Jenkins was still eating her dinner, but she'd be dead by sunrise. It was a typical Tuesday evening at Oakwood Hospice, the kind of place where the smell of disinfectant and freshly baked cookies wafted through the air, a constant reminder of the fragile balance between life and death. I'd been working the night shift for 3 years, and I thought I'd seen it all, but there was something about this man that caught my attention. He was tall, with sunken eyes and a gaunt face, dressed in a long black coat that seemed out of place in our cheery facility. He didn't sign in, didn't wear a badge, and yet he moved with a quiet confidence, as if he belonged. I watched him from afar, wondering if he was a family member or a friend, but as the night wore on, I realized he was alone, and his eyes seemed to be fixed on Mrs. Jenkins. The next morning, I learned that she'd passed away, and I couldn't shake the feeling that this stranger had been waiting for her. Over the next few weeks, I saw him again, always on the eve of a patient's passing. There was Mr. Thompson, who'd been battling cancer for years, and Mrs. Rodriguez, who'd suffered a devastating stroke. Each time the stranger would appear, his eyes locked on the patient, and I'd feel a chill run down my spine. I tried to talk to my colleagues about it, but they just thought I was stressed or overtired. They didn't see him, didn't notice the way he'd slip in and out of the shadows, always lurking, always waiting. I started to keep a log, tracking the patients and the stranger's appearances, and that's when I noticed a pattern. He'd always show up between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m., and the patients would always pass away within 24 hours. It was as if he was a harbinger of death, a messenger from the other side. I knew it sounded crazy, but I couldn't deny what I'd seen. One night, I decided to follow him, to see where he'd go after he left the hospice. I trailed him to a small, run-down apartment on the outskirts of town, and as I watched, he disappeared into the darkness. I was about to leave when I noticed something odd. The apartment was filled with photographs, hundreds of them, all of patients who'd passed away at Oakwood. And then, I saw my own face, staring back at me from a picture I'd never taken. I felt a wave of fear wash over me, and I knew I had to get out of there, but as I turned to leave, I heard a faint whisper, "I've been waiting for you." I ran back to the hospice, my heart pounding in my chest, and that's when I saw him, standing in the doorway, his eyes fixed on me. I tried to speak, but my voice was caught in my throat. He didn't move, didn't blink, and I knew, in that moment, I was in grave danger. The next morning, I didn't go to work. I stayed home, locked my doors, and waited for the darkness to pass. But as the sun began to set, I heard a knock at the door, and I knew, without a doubt, that he was waiting for me. I've been wondering, ever since, what I'll find when I finally work up the courage to open it. The days blend together now, and I'm not sure how much longer I can hide. I've started to notice strange things, like the way the shadows move on my wall, or the sound of whispers in the wind. I'm starting to think that I'll never be able to escape him, that he'll always be one step ahead. And then, there are the photographs, the ones I found in his apartment, the ones with my face in them. I've been trying to remember when they were taken, but my mind is a blank. I've been trying to convince myself that it's all just a coincidence, that I'm just being paranoid. But deep down, I know the truth, and it's terrifying. I know that I'm being watched, that I'm being waited for, and I know that it's only a matter of time before he comes for me.